landmarks that you'll understand, and if you are close to any of those we call out, and you know you're in that polygon, you'll need to go to a more substantial shelter. And everybody that lives in a mobile home in the state should have a plan on what to do, whether it's 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, weekday or weekend. The other place you don't want to be is a car. A large percentage of the people that die in our state from severe weather outbreaks like this are in mobile homes or cars. But on a day like today, the potential for large violent tornadoes, even site-built homes, you've got to do the right thing, and by that we want you in a lowest level, basement if you've got one. If no basement, first floor is fine. Small room, that's a hall, closet, bathroom. You want to be away from windows and near the center. Don't worry about northeast or southwest corners. Forget all that. Just be near the center and you'll be fine. The most important thing is the lowest level. And you can see that we have no other storms in progress that are severe. There's some rain falling in Anniston and Gadsden, some showers here. And if you've been watching the Facebook and blog posts, you know, we'd said any of these storms could erupt and go severe in a heartbeat, and that's what's happened. And again, Jason is highlighting these other storms that are forming in this region. And again, that's the storm right there that's coming up through Jasper. That's the one that initialized west of Tuscaloosa. So again, let's go for a closer look, and we'll keep watching. And again, because of the damage to the infrastructure we suffered this morning, we're going to have a lot of power issues and communication issues. This will be a challenging, severe weather event. A lot of people are watching this via their smartphones because they have no power. And again, if you are in that situation, you know, I hope you charged your batteries, because we might be on the air for a long time. But again, back in the right rear flank of this storm, we have the possibility of a tornado that's just west of downtown Jasper. And again, a very strong velocity couplet. That's about as strong as they get. And again, and this is Columbus or Birmingham?
That's Columbus.
Okay, this is coming from Columbus Air Force Base in Mississippi. Okay, so that's the situation there. Green, those are the inbound. Red, those are the outbound pixels. And that's going to be scooting across the northern part of the city limits of Jasper. And again, you can see now the couplet is showing up north of downtown Jasper by maybe about 3 miles, pretty close to Manchester. And again, this is the split. That's 257 that goes up toward Curry. That's 195 that goes up toward Double Springs. And that will be continuing to move pretty much up in this direction toward Curry. So the danger now is in the northern city limits of Jasper. And again, that will be moving northeast. And ultimately, it will be crossing over into Winston County. This is the county line. That's 257 right here. Of course, this is Smith Lake, one of the largest lakes. It's got these big fingers that spread out across parts of Cullman, Walker, and Winston counties. But that is a clearly dangerous storm that will be coming up here very close to Curry. So again, clearly, if you are in Curry all the way down to Jasper, you need to be in a safe place. Now, in about 3 or 4 minutes, we can get Jasper and all clear. But that will be coming up right toward the middle of Curry, which is right here. And anybody on the western shore of Smith Lake, on the Winston County side, the Walker County side, you need to be in a safe place right now. It looks like this circulation could go right on top of the lake. And of course, for the few moments in which it's over the body of water, this thing becomes a water spout. Then it's going to exit Smith Lake and then come up into perhaps Cullman County if this thing continues on that track. And unfortunately, this is not one of these days where these will weaken. If anything, they'll be getting stronger as the lift increases with the dynamics approaching from the west. The temperatures continue to warm, the instability increases, and again, a lot of the severe weather parameters are just off the charts today. The STP, the Significant Tornado Index, we've seen values like we don't see these values. We've seen the Supercell Composite Index, and that's the combination of lift, instability, and shear. So everything is in place. And again, that's going to be coming right up toward Curry, which is right here, and then coming across the southern part of Smith Lake, the southern and the western part. We encourage everybody around the Smith Lake Dam and points north to be in a safe place. And I said the western shore, really anybody around the whole southern part of Smith Lake, even on the eastern shore, you want to be in a safe place as well. Even if we don't have a tornado, this storm is capable of knocking down a lot of trees with strong straight line winds as the storms move through here. So again, Jason, at this point, we're looking for ground truth, and most of our folks are not on this storm. They position themselves, and I think where John and Mike are is a great spot over there near Gordo, near the Tuscaloosa-Pickens County line. We'll see more issues for him. But with our other sky watchers, we have not seen any specific reports of any damage from this storm. And another thing, Jason, this is going to be an odd day. It's going to be hard determining, separating the damage this morning from the damage that occurs this afternoon. I mean, we've had so much damage from this morning.
All right, and with the situation as it is at this moment, with no reported damage around Walker County, doesn't mean it hasn't happened. In fact, earlier this morning when the storms came through Jasper, it was more than an hour before we were able to actually find out the kind of damage that had happened in Jasper and Cordova and around the rest of Walker County. And it was up to an hour and a half before we really realized how bad the situation was in Cullman County after the system passed through there. James mentioned the conditions around the rest of the state. Let's look at that Tuscaloosa Skycam. This is far south of our tornado warning, but it's 83 degrees with a dew point of 71 and a southwest wind at 14. The peak wind gust of the day showing 43, but that was after we had a power hit. We lost the data from the big wind that came through with the storms earlier this morning. And there are storms developing over North Tuscaloosa County right now. When I go back to the radar, though, and there is a very impressive signature here on radar. Tornadoes have a signature that is like none other. When you see a hook echo that's like that one, it's almost a C shape just north of downtown Jasper, and it's really north of the...
Sorry, there's got a tornado warning for Cullman now for the storm.
Yeah, and that makes sense. That's just an extension of that warning. And this time it'll be the western side of Cullman County. Unfortunately, out around Bremen and Brushy Pond, there was extensive damage earlier this morning. So if you know someone there, there's a chance they don't have electricity. There's a chance that they don't have any way of getting a warning. So if you know somebody that lives on the southwestern part of Cullman County, out around Brushy Pond or Trade or Ardell or Smith Lake Park, West Cullman, West Point, Jones Chapel. Same thing in northern Walker County, Boldo and Manchester and Curry, and then southern Winston around Arley. If you know somebody there and you are sure they're without electricity, call them and let them know. Send them a text message, get them some way of knowing that there's a tornado warning there and there's a possible tornado that's just north of Jasper, moving northeast. It's going to clip all three of these counties. It's in northern Walker now. It'll cross over southeast Winston and wind up in southwest Cullman in a matter of about 5 or 10 minutes. It'll likely be preceded by some heavy rain, maybe some hail, some strong gusty winds, and then the tornado will be on the back side of that. And James, we're talking about no ground truth with this one yet. We do have ground truth that a tornado is in the city limits of Decatur. I've seen that on Twitter from a couple of reliable sources that a tornado has been sighted within the city limits of Decatur up in North Alabama. Our environment here is much, much more conducive to tornadoes than it is up in Decatur and Morgan and Limestone and Madison counties. So with what we see on radar there in Jasper, even though I don't have a confirmation of a tornado on the ground right now, I would suggest that you need to be in a safe place immediately. Don't wait on it. We've already had some rough weather this morning that looked nothing like that on radar. This is the classic supercell. It's out by itself. It's intensifying, and it's about to cross that boundary, that mesoscale feature we talked about just a few minutes ago. And when it does that, it has a much higher probability of producing a tornado. We're looking for any kind of report that you can give us. If you have a picture you want to send, please don't stand on the front porch and watch the storm come in. Wait until the storm has passed. We'd much rather see a damaged picture as opposed to a storm coming at you kind of picture. We don't want anybody putting themselves in jeopardy with the storms as intense as they can be today, and especially with the fact that most of our tornadoes in the south end up being rain-wrapped. Our tornado warning extends all the way to the western side of Cullman and up toward the area just west of Battleground near the Winston County line. All of Smith Lake is included in this, so there's a tornado warning literally from the Smith Lake Dam out through almost every finger, slough, and main part of the body of the lake. So if you are in an area there where some of your neighbors may not have a way of getting these warnings, that's one of the things we've got to stress today is we've all got to work together to make this warning process work due to the damage that we already had this morning. Let's look at the stats on this storm. The tornado vortex signature is still there based off the Columbus, Mississippi radar, and we have a Titan impact number of 8. Let me retry that to make sure we can get it all on the screen. A significant tornado index of 11.7 and a tornado impact of a 4.6. Back on April 15th, we were seeing numbers around 9 and 10. We've never seen an 11 or a 12 until this moment on that significant tornado index. So in Jasper, in Walker County, if something's likely going on there north of Jasper. But if you're in Jasper or Townley or Parrish or Cordova or Summerton, it's not a problem for you anymore. This is now confined to the northeastern part of Walker, up Alabama 257 around Curry. You need to be in a safe place right now.
And I'll tell you what, Jason, let's look at the MacBook Pro. We got a picture of this thing. There it is. This is from Manchester. All right, you see the wall cloud? All right, and again, at this point, it doesn't look like there was a tornado down from that wall cloud. And again, this is the same storm. So I just wanted to give everybody a visual on this. I'm sorry, I take that back. That was from Huntsville. We've got one photograph here coming from Manchester, and that is the one that was taken within the last couple of minutes. So what we have right here is a wall cloud that is a well-defined lowering of the right rear flank of the storm. It looks like a very well-organized storm, good inflow structure. But at that point in Manchester, we're not seeing any evidence of a tornado. And again, and this is from Billy Parker, and let me just remind everybody that if you have images, and like Jason said, do not put yourself in danger. Now, we've got about 700 trained sky watchers on our team that we've trained over the years in November. They know what they're doing, but we don't want anybody without training to go out there and try and take pictures outside if you're in a tornado warning. But if you clearly know that the storm is moving away from you and you are in a safe place, the pictures will be of great help today, but again, because of the infrastructure problems we're having. The address is pictures at abc3340.com, and of course we can't show all of them on the air, but we show a bunch of them and we see them all in real time, and it is extremely helpful for us. So again, that is coming from Manchester. So again, let's go back to the radar, and I will give an all clear to Jasper. If you are watching or listening to us in downtown Jasper, all clear. Curry, stay in your safe place for about 5 more minutes. The storm is almost at that triple point here. And again, this is the Smith Lake Dam. My finger is on the Lewis Smith Dam right here. This tornado signature is crossing the southern part of Smith Lake, and that's basically where Walker, Coleman, and Winston counties all come together. It is very clear that this signature, the tornado, will be passing south of Arley. Meek High School is right here. So again, if you are in downtown Arley or near the school, again, just for protection, I would be in a safe place for about the next 5 minutes, but it's clearly passing south of there. And again, it continues this northeastward motion here, and this is, of course, Coleman County. And next up will be around Brushy Pond, as Jason said, coming up toward Bremen. And these are areas hit really hard this morning. The damage in Coleman County was extremely severe from the storms we had this morning. And there's the fan. And again, Jason, you know how bad it is in Coleman, around Dodge City and Hansville and Holly Pond. The city of Coleman took a lot of trees down, and so we've got a lot of people here with no power. And so if you know somebody that is in any of these communities, we're calling out, and if you know their cell number, we're going to ask you for your help today to call them, because a lot of them can't watch television. In some cases, perhaps they can't watch, the live stream on their cell phone, or they can't hear us on a radio station. If you know somebody in the path of these storms today, we call out, call their cell phone and tell them you just need to go to a safe place and explain what you're seeing here. We're basically going to need you to assist us today because of the tremendous number of power outages we have from the massive issues we had this morning. So we have a tornadic supercell storm that is sitting at the triple point where Walker County, Winston County, Coleman County all come together. This is passing over the southern part of Smith Lake. It's really in the area near or just below Duncan Bridge Marina. And as it comes out on the Coleman County side, you've got Brushy Pond. And again, based on that photograph, again, we'll go back and show you what this thing looks like. This is from Manchester, just north of Jasper. We'll go back to the MacBook Pro, and that's the wall cloud with this storm. Now, that was probably 10 minutes ago. And at this point, Jason, it could be down. We want to stress that. It's a still picture, but that is a very well-organized storm with good structure.
It could have an invisible funnel. This might have been the point where it actually began, and often when a tornado just gets started, the funnel is invisible until it can be clouded up with debris and dust, and eventually that condensation funnel gets all the way down to the ground. Looking at the parameters on this storm, the tornado impact is now at a 9.6, and the significant tornado index at an 11.5. And given the fact that we had those numbers back on April 15th, 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, I would almost guarantee there's a tornado on the ground. It may not be a big tornado, but it doesn't take a big one to do a lot of damage, especially to mobile homes. It can knock trees down on substantial structures and crush them. 90-mile-per-hour wind may not blow a house away, but if the tree is right next to it, the tree can fall through the house and cause a significant amount of damage. We don't want you outside watching this, from the front porch or from the back porch. We would prefer that you get into an interior part of your house. If you don't have a basement to get to, just get in the middle of the house in a small room, a closet that's away from windows, a good bathroom that's away from windows on the lowest floor. Storm pits and storm shelters are common in that part of the country up in southwest Coleman County. So if you got one of those, it's a good time to go ahead and go to it. We'll take these numbers off. And again, that tornado impact approaching 10, that one does max out at 10. I was not aware that the significant tornado went much higher than that. But we have a bounded weak echo region, this little donut hole that shows up near Alabama 257. Now, this radar image is about 4 minutes old, so you would imagine that this circulation that's showing up in northeast Walker is now either over extreme southeast Winston or southwest Coleman. It's somewhere there close to the Winston-Coleman County line, a little bit northwest of Cold Springs High School. This will come across Brushy Pond, across the areas there along what's known as Brushy Pond Mountain, Ben South Mountain, and then come up Coleman County 109, and then stay maybe just a touch northwest of Dodge City. So that would put anybody from roughly Crane Hill and Bremen all the way to Jones Chapel at a threat from a possible tornado. And look at that. It's wrapping up a little bit more intensely as the storm continues on its northeast track.
That thing's spinning like a top.
Yeah. Let's look at it from the Columbus perspective.
You got a be weird, don't you?
Yep. Got the donut hole still showing up. Earlier it was a hook. Now a weak echo region is the hook. A bounded weak echo region is when you have that donut hole shape. And from Columbus it looks a little bit different. James, one thing that may be happening here too, other than a tornado, is some extremely strong rear flank downdraft winds. Notice that tight gradient on the back edge of the storm that's there near Arley. Sometimes that can be an indication that you have extremely strong winds running into the storm and they can't go through the storm, so they either go up or go down or around. And sometimes when they come down, you can have damaging straight line winds behind a tornado that can be on the order of 90 miles per hour.
That happened in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that the damage on Loop Road was RFD damage and not from a tornado. So you're right. But look at the structure. Take a closer look at this thing. This is a very dangerous storm. And again, I don't want to get hung up in hyperbole today. You've heard us warn you about this day for several days now. But clearly, this is a situation where if you are under a warning, you want to take it seriously. There's the hook echo right there. And again, this thing is wrapped up, the possible tornado back in this back flank of the storm. That's Alabama 257. This is Arley that goes down to Curry. For Curry, the danger is over. For Jasper, the danger is over. Unless you live right around the Smith Lake Dam or near the southern part of Smith Lake, in Walker County, you're fine. It is that far northeastern tip. And again, Winston, Walker, Coleman. Large hail is falling on top of Smith Lake, and again, a tornado right now is crossing over the lake, and that will be on the Coleman County side here in just a matter of minutes. So if you are anywhere close to the school at Brushy Pond, in that southwestern corner of Coleman County, you need to be in a safe place right now. We are continuing to watch for reports, and we've got our sky watchers. Not only are they out looking at this, they're also in many cases excellent at scanner traffic, and so far we've got a report first off from Brian Peters and Dr. Tim Coleman, our colleagues. They are west of Jasper, and they watched a wall cloud with this go almost overhead. It had brief rotation briefly to the southwest, but they did not see a funnel at that point. But this is much more organized right now. That was as of a few moments ago. No reports of any damage in Jasper around the 5 Points area. It's north of town, up around Farmstead School. The only reports I've seen coming out of Walker County in terms of damage, it's some trees down up around Saragossa. So far, so good. Now, look at the tornado impact number, 9.4. And the significant tornado index, we always thought that maxed out at 10. This thing has been running over 10. So, again, these numbers are just about off the chart, as are almost all of the severe weather parameters today, moving northeast. And remember, occasionally, severe storms that are wrapped up like this will move maybe a little more to the right of that mean northeast flow if the thing really starts to wrap up. But at this point, it still looks like it's on that steady northeast track, and that hook, the tornado signature, is sitting on the county line between Winston and Coleman. Now, for most of Winston County, you're not involved in this. Haleyville, Double Springs, Lynn, this is not going to affect you. This is down here in the far southeastern corner, really pretty close to the Smith Lake Dam, or just north of there. And again, that's going to be coming out on the other side of Smith Lake and then moving up here toward Brushy Pond. And then ultimately the I-65 corridor, and again, Jason will expand this out for those people that are traveling, will encourage now no travel along Interstate 65 from Blunt Springs to Coleman, and that this strong tornado indication on radar will be crossing over the interstate, perhaps somewhere pretty close to Good Hope. Of course, this is the Good Hope exit right here. That's Highway 69 north going up into Coleman, that intersects with 31 right here. That's Highway 69 south that goes down to Jasper. And it certainly looks like this thing wants to come right up here, Jason, in the general direction of Coleman. And they've taken a rough hit this morning, and here comes another one.
Right, we'll put the fan on this and give it an approximate movement up to the northeast. Over the next 28 minutes, this will be affecting places like Good Hope, West Point, Coleman, Vinemont. That's at about 3 to 3:05 between Coleman and Vinemont. Of course, those are estimated times for the center of the city. Of course, we know that Coleman and Good Hope are much larger cities than just the center of town, especially Good Hope going all the way down to the edge of Smith Lake. City limits go practically down to the park down there on the edge of Smith Lake, close to Spiegels. So with that in mind, we've got a potential tornado that could affect a pretty large area here. You start to get into some seriously large population on the west side of Coleman, and then it comes across there about 25,000 people in a clustered region right there around Coleman and Good Hope and Vinemont. So this may stay a little northwest of our original tornado or damaging wind path. We're not certain which one it was earlier this morning, but certainly something happened that produced something that looked like a tornado over eastern Coleman County. And one of the things that you need to be aware of today is that regardless of whether it's 100 miles per hour in a straight line or 100 miles per hour as a part of a spinning tornado, it's got the same force behind it. It doesn't matter if it's spinning or not. If you're getting that kind of wind, it's going to do some substantial damage. And that couplet just looks incredible over southwest Coleman County. It is moving over Brushy Pond as we speak.
Well, let me pass this report on, Jason. This is from a person that lives in Curry on Burroughs Crossing Road, and they watched this go by, and they saw strong rotation, and they say it looked very low to the ground, which means there could be a tornado there. And understand, people that perhaps have watched severe storms in Oklahoma and Kansas, there are no hills and no trees out there. Around here, we have hills and we have trees, and it's very hard to see these even in broad daylight like this. This is why many of our colleagues say it doesn't make any sense to chase in Alabama, chase storms, because you just can't see them that well. You can do it, but it's awfully hard. But again, based on that report, again, we need to take this thing very seriously. And again, this is a possible tornadic storm moving northeast. I think we can give it all clear now if you're from Dodge City south. Dodge City sits here. That's the Highway 69 south exit. This is Alabama Highway 91 right here that goes up to Hanceville. And again, we had the severe damage in Hanceville and Holly Pond this morning. This storm will be on a far northern track than that. And let's look at that Coleman Skycam. We got a Skycam on US 278 right here. Now, we're not going to see anything at this point. We're not looking for a tornado on this shot. We're looking for the environmental conditions. And I'll tell you right now, that's amazing. The dew point is 70.
The wind is not from the north.
Right. That is an incorrect.
Wow, look at that.
And gosh, goodness gracious. Let's take a look at those cloud bases. Are you kidding me? And
I cannot believe we can see that far away.
All right. So that is our wall cloud. So now we can just focus on this thing. This is the camera is a little east of downtown Coleman, but the one thing about it, that this storm is totally isolated. In that there's nothing around it, and it's not competing with other storms for inflow.
Just got a report of structural damage near Crane Hill.
Okay.
So I think we can safely say this thing's probably on the ground now.
Yeah, and again, just because you don't see a condensation funnel out of that lowering, hey, there could be one down right now. And of course, Crane Hill is on the Coleman County side of Smith Lake. And a whole lot of people have Crane Hill addresses that live around Smith Lake, but that tornado, or what apparently seems to be a tornado, came down right through one of those neighborhoods that's in the Crane Hill, with the Crane Hill mailing address. And that was reported to the Coleman County EMA. So again, we've got some structural damage from this, and we're watching a severe storm right now. This is the right rear flank of the severe storm. This is the lowering back on the backside from the Coleman Skycam. And again, let's pull this out a little bit, Jason. Let me just show, let's look at the structure of this thing. One of the things you look for, you want to look for striations, and I think we can safely say that is a rotating updraft. This kind of thing where that looks like something you see in Kansas. It's amazing. All right, now let's go back in a little bit tighter. We'll scan the base of this thing. And this is a storm coming right for downtown Coleman. So again, look at there. Look.
There's your funnel.
Okay.
Yeah, not sure if it's down.
Right. Remember, just because you don't see the condensation, this thing could be down. The next thing you look for would be debris. Now, it's so far away from this, I don't know if we'll be able to see it, the debris this far away, but clearly this is an urgent message. This is what I would go ahead and call a tornado emergency for the city of Coleman. If you are watching us in Coleman, we want people right now to be in a safe place. If you're anywhere in the city limits of Coleman, if you are in Good Hope, you want to be clearly in a safe place. And again, we're just going to watch this thing together. We're going to have this on our camera for a long time. Coming from Coleman, we've got an incredible wrapped up thunderstorm that is rotating. We have this is the wall cloud, and from time to time we've seen that try and come down. We've got reports of structural damage around the Crane Hill, which is on the eastern side of Smith Lake, and we are going to watch this whole thing together. And the good thing about this is the only severe storm for now in our television market. So we can focus on this, and we're not having to bounce back and forth between multiple storms, which we can do. So again, we are just going to watch this thing together. The camera, the Skycam, is located at the water treatment facility, which is just a few miles east of downtown Coleman, Highway 278. It's on top of the large structure there, and it's got a great view of the sky in all directions. That's one of the reasons we chose that. And again, this is what we're watching right here. And understand, there could be a tornado down. Just because you don't see a large wedge tornado doesn't mean there's nothing down. In a situation like this, something...
James, I think in the contrast there, if you look at the contrast, I can look at it from one monitor here, and I can see some darkness. So I think there may be a funnel that is very faintly visible from this perspective. You have to look at the monitor just the right way. Either that or it's the curtain of rain wrapping around the backside of it. But there is, from one monitor that I can see here that has a little bit higher contrast, I can definitely see some darkening underneath that funnel. It's hard to tell if it's tornado or if it's rain on the backside of it, because this thing should be wrapped in rain based on what we're seeing from the radar. And I'm leaning toward it being a rain curtain that's coming around the backside of the mesocyclone, but certainly interesting, to say the least.
Right. And again, we are getting... The one thing that is so great about communication these days, where we get so many reports in real time, from a huge army of those folks that are with us on the social networks, on Facebook and Twitter. And again, at this point, we do not see any new reports of damage here in the last few minutes.
Look at that. The funnel's getting tighter.
I see it. Okay. Again,
let's get tighter in on that thing. I'm going to take the higher compression off so we can move faster. That's a tornado that's got to be on the ground. Look at that.
We got a tornado down. This is a tornado emergency for the city of Coleman.
Yeah, and I think in West Coleman, you are in most danger of this. Look, I can see the debris cloud at the bottom of it. That is west of downtown Coleman right now. So if you're in...
All right, again, this is a tornado emergency for the city of Coleman at 2:46. This is west of downtown Coleman, approaching the city. So again, right now, this is the time to go to a safe place. Do not wait and watch the television. Right now, you need to go to that tornado safe place in your home. Small room, hall, closet, bathroom, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. This thing is clearly down. You can see debris coming around the bottom right now. It's moving very rapidly, moving at about 50 miles an hour, moving to the northeast. And again, more than likely down into here, we have debris that is swirling clearly in the base of that tornado. And this looks like it is beginning to become a large tornado. Just because you don't see the condensation funnel all the way down doesn't mean it's not there. So again, we don't want anybody in mobile homes. Nobody should be in a car in Coleman. In the city limits of Coleman, you need to be stop at a convenience store, a gas station, some type of site-built structure, and get in there and wait until this thing passes. This is a tornado that is live approaching the downtown Coleman area. We're looking from our Skycam on top of the water treatment facility. And again, clearly this tornado is down. And you can see right now that it is causing probably major damage at this point. Jason, this, you know,
We're probably more than 5 or 6 miles away from that, so it looks fairly small, but that is a large tornado.
yeah, we lost your mic, Jason. Again,
I got to change that.
right, and again, this is from quite a distance, okay? This is from a long way away. This could be a large, violent tornado, and this could be the kind that stays on the ground for a long time. So again, this will be getting closer and closer to our camera site and closer to downtown Coleman. And again, tell you what, I'm going to bring up radar scope. But I want to stay with that shot full screen. There's no need for us to show radar because we'll tell you exactly where this thing is. This is a tornado that is approaching downtown Coleman from the west. This came over the southern part of Smith Lake. And again, it's just making a beeline right toward downtown Coleman. This could be a large tornado, but the truth is it doesn't matter if it's an EF0, an EF1, that is life-threatening, but this is a tornado that looks very significant. Again, just because you don't see the darker clouds underneath that, it's down. You can see the debris swirling underneath this thing. And this is a tornado emergency for the city of Coleman. Beyond a tornado warning because you're looking at it. And again, it's right here. And that is about to come right through downtown Coleman, watching the radar screen. And again, clearly in terms of travel, nobody should be driving along Interstate 65 or US 31 between the, let's say, the Dodge City exit and just the Morgan County line up around the Lakon exit. Okay, so nobody should be on Interstate 65. In fact, I would suggest this tornado is crossing the interstate right now. And goodness gracious, this is absolutely incredible. So again, this is a violent tornado that is approaching downtown Coleman. It should be close to Interstate 65 right now. And of course, within a matter of moments, that will take it right into downtown Coleman. Everybody in downtown Coleman should be in a safe place, hunkered down right now. Do not, stay up watching this on television. Just take your phone. You can watch this on an app. And all you got to do is be safe at this point. And
That's a multiple vortex tornado.
Yeah, it sure looks like those are very...
You've got multiple vortices rotating around a common center.
Yep. And again, as this comes through downtown Coleman, more than likely this could actually begin to become darker as debris gets involved. We have noticed the debris ball signature on radar, which means that there is clearly debris in the base of that. And I'm going to send, I'll tell you what, Jason, you might put a note. Okay, you put a note in the Weather Service chat in Huntsville.
Yeah, they're aware of this.
Okay.
This is and again, this is if you're anywhere from Kugler Creek to downtown Coleman, we can't. I mean, it's obvious. You've got to get to safety. In the middle of the house, if you don't have a basement, if you're listening to us at Walmart in Coleman, this may even come close there. I mean, with the entire city of Coleman, from top to bottom, you need to be aware of this. We're going to watch this thing come right up into the middle of the city, most likely. If not there, it's going to cross over the exit right out there close to the flea market. So if you're near the flea market on Highway 278, just saw a power flash in the screen there.
It's going to get close to this site too.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking very close. I think it may be just a little west of here. But you can see how it's getting bigger in the screen as it's coming toward us.
There's clearly a multiple vortex tornado. You've got these vortices rotating around